Yes, we're still working on the Ithaca. I've had a lot of inquiries lately wondering where we are on it. It hasn't gone away. If you remember from a couple episodes back, on the Ithaca we were having to clean out all the oils and junk inside the splits and the cracks. I've been doing that a little bit every day over the last several days. Wanted to make sure that I got this as clean as I can before I added the epoxy. So today we're going to add the epoxy to the various cracks in the Ithaca gun stock. So let's get this started. So there are three major cracks that we need to deal with, and if you look at this from the top of the inletting, the first crack runs right along this entire left side of the inletting. The second major crack actually goes down this other side of the inletting, and it probably separates this center section. The center section right now is standing alone, and I've got to glue both of these panels back to that center section. So we're going to have to put epoxy in there. The second part, or third part that we've got, is this section here. This ear is also loose. So I've got to glue that in place, and you can see the crack pretty clearly that goes up along this line here. So this crack on this side is very similar to the crack on the other side that we fixed in a few episodes back. And they are mirror breaks. I'm not entirely sure at this point what would have caused that. A lot of ideas possible, but so this crack on the left side, it goes from the front of the inletting all the way back to the rear screw, and it actually comes back a little bit into the wrist of the stock. And we're going to try and get this epoxy. I bought a new mixture, a new tube, so that it's fresh. And I'm going to force that down in there, and once we've got it forced down in on the top, I'm going to roll the stock over and try to get it forced in on the bottom as well. So I've pried this front open with a screwdriver in the front, and then I've pried it open with a knife in the back, and I want to get this opened up enough so that epoxy can flow down into those cracks. I don't want to over force it, because I don't actually don't want to break the stock. I want to just get it enough to get that epoxy down inside those cracks. Now, one of the nice things about this epoxy is it's thin enough that it will actually collapse into the splits, or into the breaks, under its own weight. Now, we're getting some up onto the side of the inletting, but I'm not going to worry about that, because I'll go in and I'll clean that up with denatured alcohol or acetone. You've heard that story before. And I'm just going to keep pushing it in until there's nothing left, and then I'll add a little bit more. I'm going to take the knife out. Actually, push that aside just a little bit more. Boy, it's taking it all. Let's roll this over. I've mentioned to you several times that you want to use the 12 or 24 hour set epoxy. You don't want to use the 5-minute epoxy. I've already been working on this for over 5 minutes, and if I was using the 5-minute set, obviously I'd be in trouble by now. Alright, now I'm going to stand this up. I'm going to pull out the screwdriver that's prying this open. And then we're going to try and force this down inside here to fill up the part that the screwdriver was taking that didn't allow me to get all this down in there. Alright, let's squish this up. Forcing epoxy down into that crack as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Alright, so we've got some glue squeeze out that we're going to have to get rid of, file away. I don't mind that. That's easy stuff to deal with. Nice, good, sharp file. And we can get that done. Alright, so that leaves the other side, or the other ear that we need to glue into that center section. Let's do that next. Now, this side over here, the split doesn't go as far back and it's not as wide, but it's still a split and we need to glue it up. So now I want to remind you that we're going to have to rebuild these panels on the side. So I'm going to put those 2 wood screws in here to add additional strength to this, and then we'll hide those wood screws with those new panels that I'm going to apply to the outside of this when we get to it. So I think this is going to be pretty strong when we're done. All right, let's go ahead and mix up that epoxy. This is a major milestone. I know I've said this before, but this really is another major milestone. Getting this stock repaired so that it stays together, so that it is together, so that it's structurally sound is really kind of important to this restoration. This has been a while coming in, and hopefully you all understand that if I don't get to this point first, all the rest of this doesn't really matter. This gun stock needs to stay together. It is the foundation of how we mount all the receiver in the metal to the gun. So its structural integrity is really important to the restoration. All right. Anyway, all right. So if you remember, the next thing I need to do, I want to mill away these panels so that I can do an applique or apply another thin piece of wood over it so that I can reconstruct those side panels. That's probably the next project you're going to see on this Ithaca. I have to clean out all the inletting to get some of the epoxy that's spilled out cleaned out. You don't need to sit through all that. It's just me using chisels and files to clean it all up. It's actually, the acetone did a pretty good job at cleaning it up. So I'm not going to have to work too hard at that, but I want to get that done. The next time we come back on the Ithaca will be me working on those side panels. This is exciting stuff, guys, getting to this point. Next video, we're going to go back to working on the 44 Ruger International. If you've been following this, I've been stripping this of its original finish. The next thing I need to do is go in and steam out all the dents, and once we've got that all done, then we'll go and start the sanding and refinishing process. So that's the next video coming up. If you haven't been following that, I encourage you to go over to the channel and watch that series of videos as well. So like all us YouTubers like to say, like, tag, follow, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell so you get notified the next time I post a video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.